Bienvenidos and welcome back to Puro Pinche Gol, the place we discuss all things usmnt y la seleccionmexicana. My name is Adrian, joining me once again, back from Portland, my co-host Tocayo, Adrian. Adrian, what's good, man?
Hey, dude, just landed from Portland. It was nice being out there. It wasn't that cold as I expected. It was rainy as hell. And fun fact, I guess, for PPG fans, I was staying. The hotel that I was staying at was close to the Portland Timbers stadium. So,
Oh,
which it used to be I think, a baseball park, if I'm not mistaken.
nice. Yeah, it's a pretty cool stadium. They always fill it up, obviously. A lot of
Hmm.
fans and tradition up there in the Pacific Northwest. That's cool that you were able to see it.
Yes, sir.
But the real reason why we're here, man, yesterday, Thursday, December 7th, was the official final Copa America 2024 2024 draw for the groups. 16 teams, 10 conmebol, 6 concacaf. 4 of the concacaf teams still yet to be determined, but nonetheless, the drawing took place. We're going to go through those groups, kind of discuss, obviously, emphasize more so on the Group B and C, the groups that pertain to Mexico and Estados Unidos, USA. But we definitely will cover every group here. I just wanted to kind of address real quick. In our last video, when we did our preview, we got a lot of comments from Colombianos coming at us saying, "Oh man, Colombia, y'all need to be scared of Colombia. Colombia is way better than you're giving them credit for." Which is true. Colombia is good. We never said they were bad. People were saying, how can y'all have Venezuela on top of Colombia in y'all's group of death with Mexico, USA? The reason we had Venezuela was because Venezuela came from Pot C. And in
Exactly.
the worst situation for Mexico, USA from Pot B, where was Uruguay, Colombia, would have been Uruguay, not Colombia. Uruguay is better than Colombia. I think even the Colombianos would admit that. So that is why we had Venezuela in the hard situation for the USA or Mexico and not Colombia, just because
Yeah.
Uruguay was the hard and difficult one from Pot B. Anyway, just wanted to address that for those Colombianos that were going crazy there. But Adrian, man, let's get into it. Group A, I think the easiest of the 4 groups. We were kind of discussing it as the groups were being revealed. Argentina got a very favorable draw here. They're in the group with Peru, who's not the Peru of the last World Cup cycle. Chile, who is nowhere near as good as that golden age, with Alexis Sanchez, Bravo, all those guys. And
Yeah.
CONCACAF 5, which is the winner of Canada and Trinidad and Tobago. The first game would be Argentina versus the winner of Canada and Trinidad and Tobago, and then with Peru versus Chile. And what can be said about this one? I think everybody takes Argentina to win, top all, 9 points, and maybe it's between Peru, Chile, and Canada. If assuming Canada advances for the second spot.
Self fix, baby. That's what it is. Tell it how it is, man. It's fixed, so Argentina at least moves on to the next stage. We all know they're gonna make it all the way to the final because it's gonna be Miami, where Messi currently lives, where Argentina is about to set up shop for their national team. So it is what it is. What it is, fella. It is what it is, player. They're gonna make it.
And you've been going down the rabbit hole of the conspiracy theories, huh? Nah, but I agree with you. It is all too perfect for Argentina to kind of make the final in Miami where Messi plays and kind of probably be Messi's final trophy and end it with another Copa America, which he hasn't said
Yeah.
that he's going to retire after this. But if they win it, one can probably conclude that he might just end it with that on a high. But yeah, not much to talk about Group A. Let's get into one of the main ones here, Group B. Mexico, Ecuador, Venezuela, and Jamaica. I think what a lot of us have decided is the group of death, not necessarily because it has the best teams, which are Brazil, Argentina, Uruguay, but because it has the most consistent teams, the most teams on an equal playing field, I would think. Mexico, obviously, the reigning Gold Cup champs. Jamaica, who's made life difficult for Mexico, for USA, for Panama, for Costa Rica in CONCACAF recently has really improved. Ecuador and Venezuela. Ecuador, who's always, an underdog in conmebol, but always finds a way usually to qualify for big tournaments and for the World Cup, and has a lot of youth and exciting prospects and players coming up through their ranks that make them a very scary team for this tournament, maybe a dark horse. And Venezuela, who has never won the Copa America, has never qualified for a World Cup, but is on the verge to do so. They're doing really well in conmebol qualifying, and they're playing really well right now currently. So a very interesting group from Mexico, man. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I 100% agree. This is a interesting group for Mexico. Perhaps not the toughest challenge that they can face, but definitely a significant and sizable challenge for Mexico. I've seen a lot of pundits saying that Mexico got it easy because they have Ecuador, Venezuela, and Jamaica, and I don't see a lot of pundits from the big chains claiming that is El Grupo de la Muerte. I've seen people on social media, I've seen people on YouTube, I've seen people just on the intrawebs claiming that this is perhaps the group of dead. And I agree. I 100% agree. I think all of these teams, if you look at them by each individually, right, all of them have a very similar performance in the sense of right now we all know that this is not Mexico's greatest national team. We know that Ecuador is in a very significant generational change, so their players are not necessarily uh, well experienced, and they might not be at their highest peak just yet. We understand that Jamaica maybe is not the best team as a group, but they have very interesting individual talents. And then Venezuela is a team that, as a unit, plays very well. They might not have very strong individual talent, but they have been a force to be reckoned with for the at least for this year's CONMEBOL qualifiers. So yes, this is going to be a super interesting group to watch, to follow. I see it very difficult for Mexico to make it out. To be honest with you, it's going to be a true uh, challenge for Jimmy Lozano and see how far he has come from winning the Gold Cup and just making a run for Copa America.
Yeah, it's definitely a group muy parejo, right? I mean, they're all
Hmm.
really close to each other. We ran a poll here on
Yes.
the PPG channel, kind of saying which group is the group of death, and 67% of the voters voted for Group B. And I want to highlight a comment here that we received from Vive 305. He says, "I think Mexico group is the group of death only because it's the most even of the four." Uh, he says none of these teams are really contenders to win the tournament, but they are very even. He says it's not like the group of death in Champions League that has Dortmund, Milan, Newcastle, and PSG. Um, I agree. I mean, it's not like if you were to have Uruguay, Argentina, maybe Venezuela, and a very a group with a lot of very high quality player teams. This is a group where Mexico will be fancying their chances. I don't necessarily agree with you that you said that you find it difficult for Mexico to get out. I think Mexico would be fancying their chances to get out. They should get out, but again, I'm the one that said they should beat Honduras fairly easily. Yet they very struggled with Honduras. But yeah, I agree with that commenter. This is definitely a group that it's the most parejo, most even, and
Hmm.
one that can give Mexico problems. And I guess I won't be shocked if they find their way somehow missing out on advancing because Ecuador is quality, so is Venezuela and Jamaica. So yeah, interesting group,
Yeah.
man.
Props to that PPG fan that made that comment, dude. Like this PPG fam, this PPG cousin out there, he is the voice of reason. He needs to get a beer from someone. He's not a crazy fan, so please keep him coming. I know that you know your football, dude.
There you go. Yeah, make sure to keep commenting. We appreciate reading all y'all's comments there for sure. Group C, man. USA's group. USA was header of Group C by being the highest ranked CONCACAF team that wasn't the current Copa Oro champion, Gold Cup champions. So they were the head of Group C. And when we did our preview for USA, kind of saying the most difficult opponents, medium opponents, and easiest opponents, I think they fell right in the middle. We said that the most difficult person or team they could get paired up with was Uruguay. They got paired up with Uruguay. But then we said the easiest from Pot D and Pot C were probably Panama and Bolivia, and they got them. So I think USA will be fancying getting out of the group for sure. They play Bolivia first and then Panama. So maybe by the time they play Uruguay in the third match, both Uruguay and USA are racked up with 6 points, and they'll be playing for the who will win the group, which is very feasible at that point. So USA, I think, definitely should advance from this group. It'll be a complete failure if they don't. I think Uruguay wins the group, giving my really early predictions. But I definitely think USA advances from this group. What are your thoughts on Group C?
Yeah, it's gonna be. I'm excited to see the match against Uruguay because if you remember before last World Cup when they faced Uruguay for a friendly, Uruguay did some damage to the USMNT, and that was with Diego Alonso at the helm. Now imagine Uruguay with Bielsa and having playing at the level they're playing right now. They're highly motivated. They're going through a generational change as well. Um, but they're most seasoned. Well, they have very young players who are seasoned at the topest level in Europe. So it's going to be interesting to see that. I think just like the other three groups that are in Group B, this is a good example of how Copa America is, where you have two teams that are competitive against each other, and then the other two who are are a good sizable challenge, but they are leaps and bounds away from or far from the talent that maybe the USMNT and Uruguay has. So I'm naming Panama and Bolivia. I
Yeah.
don't think the USMNT will have a hard time moving on. Um, and they're playing the US, so Triple G has no excuses of not winning against Bolivia or Panama because this is not a qualifier. They're not going to play outside of the US. So this point in time is time for Triple G to put his money where his mouth is.
Yeah, that Uruguay match is exciting because, like you said, they played before the World Cup, right? And Uruguay, I believe, did some damage against USA. That was a younger USA squad. This is a USA squad that now has a World Cup under their belt, has 2 Nation League trophies. So they've been playing together for a while now. They're not young anymore. I think the promedio, the average age, like 25 now, when before it was 22 or something like that. And this isn't the Uruguay of 2010, right? The Uruguay that had Diego Forlan, that had a prime Luis Suarez, that had Cavani, Godin, Lugano, Muslera, all those guys. I mean, this squad still has Darwin Nunez, Betancourt, all these stars, right? Cáceres, but
Valverde.
Valverde, yeah, but it's not the guys like the level of that 2010 one that went to the semifinals. So if the USA really wants to be taken serious and wants to be do damage in the 2026 World Cup, this is a test, man. I think this is an easier test than Netherlands was at the 2022 World Cup. So USA should fancy maybe even a draw, maybe even a win, man. So I don't know. I have it 60%, 40% Uruguay win. I think it's closer than people give USA credit for, but they're going to need to perform. So that's going to be probably the match of the first round, just for what it represents. If who wins, who as first and second of the group, and who plays Brazil or Colombia, assuming they advance from Group D. Um, so Group D has Brazil, as we said, Colombia, Paraguay, and CONCACAF number 6. CONCACAF number 6 being the winner of Costa Rica versus Honduras. I think this is another one kind of like Group C. Brazil and Colombia are expected to win number 1 and 2. And Brazil, maybe, even though they're playing bad right now, they don't have really a coach. Their coaching situation is really muddled. I don't even know if Ancelotti is going to be in it for the Copa America, or if he's going to join afterwards, or if he's still joining at all. So this is the Brazil team that doesn't have the star power of Brazil's of the past, but still has quality players. So you expect them to kind of wake up from
Is
their
Brazil? Yeah.
disastrous so far conmebol qualifying and top that
Mhm.
group. What do you think of Group D?
Yeah, a lot of people, a lot of pundits on ESPN, Fox Sports, and all of those places are claiming that this is the group of death with Brazil, Colombia, Paraguay, and whoever wins from Canada and Honduras or Costa Rica. Um, I don't really think that's the group of death. Uh, yes, Colombia is competitive. It's perhaps the third best team right now in CONMEBOL. Paraguay is I think Paraguay is a hit or miss. They could be surprising, or they could be just total trash, like they have been for the last, I don't know, 15 years. And you're gonna get Honduras or Costa Rica, the worst Costa Rica in the last also 15 years, 10 years, and Honduras, who is a team that is on the up and running, And even though they were almost trumping Mexico for qualifying directly to the Copa America, they have nothing to do against Colombia and Brazil. I mean, they'll be they'll be thankful that they don't get squashed by them 5-0, 4-0, whatever the case may be. But I think you cannot rule out Brazil, regardless of their current fit or form. And I think it's going to be not necessarily a walk in the park for Colombia, but if the PPG Colombiano fans that were claiming Colombia is, as great as they sound, or as great as they make it sound, Colombia then should qualify caminando to the next stage, right? They should be dominating the match, 9 points out of 9, and no struggles whatsoever.
Yeah, and I mean, Colombia and Paraguay recently met in qualifying for CONMEBOL 2026 World Cup, and Colombia did win 1-0 in Paraguay. So not as a walk in the park, right? It was a 1-0 victory, but winning away in CONMEBOL is always difficult. So yeah, this is like we said. I mean, Colombian fans that watched our previous video, we never dissed Colombia. We know they're good. So they need to prove it here, like Adrian said, qualify from this group. Paraguay currently sits 7th in CONMEBOL qualifying. Colombia sits 3rd. Brazil seats 6th. Sorry, that was a kind of tongue twister there. But it is Brazil who can wake up at any time. They have the star power to do so.
Yeah,
During the presentation, it was funny because they brought out Roque Santa Cruz to kind of make a speech or whatever,
hilarious.
draw the balls or whatever. I did not know he was still playing. That is, he's like 43 or
Really?
something. Yeah, and he's still playing. He's playing in the
God
Paraguayan league.
damn.
Yeah, but yeah,
Well, that tells you something
yeah,
about the
I don't.
Paraguayan league.
Yeah, but I don't think he'll get called up for this Copa America. But yeah, I
No,
mean, you remember he used to play in ligamx, right, with Cruz Azul,
I think so. And he also played at Blackburn Rovers.
Bayern Munich. Yeah, yeah, legend of
Yeah,
Paraguay football for sure.
yeah.
But yeah, man. Before we kind of wrap this up, man, I kind of want to hear your predictions for each group and like official predictions. Now, I know we kind of mentioned some, but who do you got Group A in order? One and two.
Uh, so I have Argentina, and then can you refresh my memory on the rest one on the other ones?
Peru, Chile, and
Or-
Canada or Trinidad.
Ah, man, all right. I think I'm gonna go with Argentina and Chile. So Argentina first, Chile second. Group B, I'm gonna go with. I think it's gonna be Ecuador first, Mexico second. Um, on Group C, I see Uruguay taking first, USMNT second, and then Group B, Colombia first and Brazil second.
Wow. Okay. I have Argentina, Peru, Mexico, Ecuador, Uruguay, USA, Brazil, Colombia. So I think we, except for Peru and Chile, I think we had the same guys, maybe just in different orders.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, we'll see if we have any surprises here. Interesting, man. It's going to be a fun Copa America.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll be able to go catch some games live. I know the first Mexico game is against Jamaica in Houston, and the first USA game is against Bolivia in Arlington. So, obviously PPG we're based in Texas, so we're probably gonna go try to catch those matches live. So we'll see what
H
happens.
Town bound.
Yeah. Well, yeah, man. As we wrap this episode up, man, where can our listeners find?
They can always find us on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on the notifications. You can also find us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast on. Last but not least, you can also find us on Twitter or Instagram at Puro Pinche Gol. We post stuff every now and then.
Yeah, make sure to follow us and let us know in the comments below. Are you excited for the draws? Did your team get a favorable draw? What are your predictions for the group, advancing from the group? How do you think USA will do? Do you think they have a chance against Uruguay there to kind of clinch that group? Do you think Mexico's group is the group of death? And do you see Mexico topping that group? We're definitely interested in reading y'all's comments there. Colombianos, hit us back up in the comments. It's always fun to read y'all's comments there. Adrian, man, another good one with you, brother. We'll be watching some Liga MX this weekend, some semi-final action. But I'll catch you next one, man.
Mm-hmm. Take it easy, my friend. See ya.
Likewise. See ya.